Deadlifts and back pain. And this is a common misconception that so many people get wrong. And when it comes to deadlifts and back pain, a lot of people think that I hurt my back when doing a deadlift, or I hurt my back picking up something up, so that means it's a bad movement. It causes back pain, right? I want to hopefully dispel that for you entirely. And first look at what a deadlift is. So a deadlift essentially is bending at the hips to pick up something off the ground. Maybe not even pick up something off the ground, but you're essentially bending at your hips, bending over to grab something off the ground. The movement is necessary. We do that numerous times throughout the day. And when we're talking about loads for deadlift, you can literally pick up something off the ground as light as a pencil. Does lifting a pencil off the ground cause you back pain? No. Okay, well, I think it would be slightly inconsiderate and not reasonable to consider that the deadlift itself is actually causing the back pain. Instead, what usually happens when people get back pain is they maybe haven't ever practiced actually deadlifting, period. They may have never done this movement at the gym, and the load usually when they hurt themselves is way too heavy. They didn't progress, they didn't lead into it, and it's usually an acute overall injury that happens simply because they're not used to the movement. How many times do you hear people who tried to help move somebody out? They were moving a couch, they were moving boxes, maybe they were shoveling. These are all things where you hear people hurting their backs. Is it because these movements are bad? No, not at all. It's just, how many times do we move homes throughout the day? Nobody does. And usually people who are helping move are not the most active. They usually don't practice deadlifting or getting their back stronger in the gym. So the second they go and acutely increase their workload, as in go and do those movements, you're just asking your tissues to not be able to withstand it. So you shouldn't really blame the deadlift. You should blame yourself, essentially, because you didn't build yourself up to that strength. It's not the movement. It's the fact that you did too much, too quickly. If you instead built up your strength doing a movement like that long term, the chances of you actually injuring yourself are incredibly low. And the really big problem with this is that a lot of people, when they do this, they will actually blame the deadlift and say, okay, I'm just not going to deadlift, or oh, I'm not going to pick anything up off the ground anymore. And this is a huge issue because it goes back to that idea that we talked about earlier in the podcast about catastrophizing. And if you constantly think about a specific movement or constantly think that a specific thing is going to cause you pain, that may inadvertently cause you to have more pain in whatever area you're experiencing pain with. Pain not only may come from your biology of actual tissue damage, it comes from your head extremely greatly too. I gave you so many examples of why that's the case earlier in the podcast.